and what's happening. Uh, see what's happening with everything going on. Welcome. It could be Tuesday evening or Thursday morning, depending on where you are in the world. Could be early Wednesday. Let's just get on into it real quick. Let me get this thing set up real quick. See how we feeling today. What we gonna be working with? We got topics. We got topics. We got topics. Do we got topics? Let's get into it. Let's see. We're gonna come back on that. I'll take that off just a second. I'm coming to you live today. So let's get this real quick. And let's get this thing real quick. All right, we are coming to you live, live, live. Okay, we are live today. Yay, 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 yay. We are live today. Hope everybody doing okay. We are coming to you live today. And if you happen to be on, feel free to come on through. Let's do some talking. I am here to talk for a while. Working on I'm working on some projects today. Got a lot of stuff in store, so we gonna see what's up. We gonna see what's up. We gonna see what's up. We gonna see. We gonna see. So we're gonna be on here today. We're gonna see how long anybody comes through. Coming to you live today. Got live stream. Just kind of like sorting some stuff out. So it's all coming to you live today. And if you feel like talking, feel free. We are on here today. It's a Tuesday. Hope everybody doing good. I told folks that I was gonna be on here and I wanted to have this conversation. So there's a lot going on. What's up? Right on time. I just sent your notice. Did you just get my note? Did you just get my note? I just sent you the note. I have to do something real quick. I just sent you the note. So you got my note. Now we're gonna see what we're gonna see what's up. Now, can you answer this poll question? Now that's a poll question you get. Yep, I just sent it out because with YouTube, I don't get that luxury of it automatic, so I have to go by app by app. We had a real good live chat on Sunday. It was pretty lengthy. And okay, yeah, I know what you did. I saw. So far the only vote so far, but these kind of questions do come up and they do get a lot of love though. Um I may be on this Saturday. I'll definitely be on Sunday. See, weekends work out the best for me because the weekends I got more flexibility. But and next week I will probably be on. I could be around this time. I think actually I got some free time Monday, Tuesday, so definitely on Thursday. So yeah, definitely next week. So I think next week I'll have more. I'll be probably pumping out more live ones next week. So, but anyway, but yeah, we got some live stuff. So feel free to whatever questions you got, feel free. And I do let you know that it doesn't happen right away, but sometime in the future, it depends on what I got. I do have future videos that if you when you follow in the channel, I do use some of the comments that you use for that I create episodes out of. So just so you know, I think you know that already, but then it depends on when my mood is right. So don't be alarmed. If you follow this channel and if you don't see your questions till like a year or two later, that's just because that's how I roll. There's no rhyme or reason. But if it hits me with something that's really strong, I have to get to it pretty quickly. If not, I just, but believe me, nothing goes unanswered. Hope you're doing all right today and feel free. Feel free. All right. Let's see. Let me get this thing cracking. I know we got some people up in here, but I just know that sometimes it take a little time. Okay. Disco was bigger. House was more like a regional thing. Um, House is actually an offshoot of disco. So if you listen to the rhythms and the producers, because if I take Steve Silky Hurley and Frankie Knuckles and those cats, that's like, what's happening? How you doing? That's an extension of Giorgio Moroder. So they actually are an extension of each other. So, but I pretty much would give disco the edge though. Everybody was trying to do disco, and disco was like an offshoot of R&B funk, which led to hip hop. House was like a real regional thing. House is kind of like go go. I don't know if you're in an area where it's prevalent. That's a language that you know first. You can deny it. So it's two different. It's two different sciences. It's an interesting mix. That's the best way I would describe it. If you're in the Midwest where house music was popular, hmm two different things. But disco would I'd say have more, you know, for better or for worse. Disco was the last form of music that was created. They truly tried to eliminate. They hated it. Hated hip hop. They hated anything that had black people associated with it. So I already been through that already. Okay. Come on now, give me some more questions. That's a good question. I don't know how I would really put that one because house is such a it's a genre that was popular, but it was more like regional thing. Like if you ask me about go go, we lived in an area where it was popular. That was a way of life. If you didn't live around it, we ain't gonna understand it. So it all depends on where you were. But disco was more influential on. It was easy for people to get into. Okay, I hope I answered that question. in that order, in that order, because everybody was played like all the time. You got to show me love. A lot of people thought that was Evelyn Champagne King. Touch Me All Night was a catchy cut by Kathy Dennis. I liked all three of them. Kathy Dennis had a catchy little voice, kind of like a low budget Sheena Easton kind of thing, but it was catchy. But Robin S, we knew that had one hit wonder written all over it, but it was a catchy song. It was the best song that Evelyn Champagne King never made after '83, and she was really hitting that note on that cut. We used to dance to that cut. But Black Box, that was huge. Because all you do is go, ow, ow. And that's all that was done. That's all that was. You know, that whole vamp, that's what that was. CNC Music Factory, all that stuff. Um, Martha Wash got paid nothing, but she did all the hooks and the vocals. She was the voice on all that. Just like with Marky Mark, Good Vibrations. You know, all that stuff was, hmm but all that is low key related to disco. That is Gonna Make You Sweat was bigger. Pump Up the Jam was catchier. That was a shift in the music right there. What happened was in the late '80s they went more Euro and they pumped up this more electronica with the keyboards and stuff, and it changed the way we listen to radio. But it was what you call, again, it was a tribute to the '70s. I'm gonna explain this again. So what we call faceless pop music, that was dictated by producers, meaning that the producers had the sounds and you just supplied the voice. No one wondered who it was. They the mystery people. That's what it was. So, when you got faceless pop, you know. So we'll see. That's how I would describe it. That's how I would describe it. Um, there's a lot of acts like that. And CNC Music Factory, Cavalis and Cole was producers behind that. So, again, that's what a lot of it is a tribute to. Faceless pop music. You don't know who it is, you just bop your head to it. You don't even care. That's all it is. And they did that during the disco era. And eventually, to be honest with you, it's almost part of all the culture in a way because you got usually a female singer sing behind these acts, and the songs were bigger than the acts, unless of course the vocalists had to be distinctive. How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. So there's a lot of that went on. Still does to this day. That's when the producers took over. So you think about it. We have somebody like Tony Braxton that's working with Dark Child, and he works with Jennifer Lopez. You talking about your first tier act working with your fourth, fifth tier act. That's what ends up happening. So it becomes faceless pop music. You know. So that's what's up. Thank you for everybody that's taking the poll. So when anybody want to talk about that, we can talk about that too. But how would I be Michael Jackson's dad? Michael Jackson was older than me. Do you know how old Michael Jackson was? I do not look like I'm 70, 80 years old. So please. But I like it when trolls come on. Are you Michael Jackson's daddy? Please give me a break. Hey, you got to do a better job of trolling than that. Mm. Trolls come all the time. As long as you don't say nothing else dumb, I'll let that troll message stand because I get a good laugh. Yes, he was. Michael Jackson passed at 50 years old. Michael Jackson was older than me. I don't know what you talking about. I don't look like I'm no 80 or 90 years old. So please. And you get one more time to troll. And next time I gotta let you roll. So if you got something to say, say it. And if you just here to troll, we're gonna have to show you the dough. I don't like dealing with trolls, especially when it was stupid stuff and stuff that doesn't have relevance. Cause it's just a way of just saying stuff. I like them both for different reasons. Gypsy Woman was about a homeless. That was very detailed. So Groove was in the Heart. I love the sample. Um La da dee la da da. I would probably say Groove was in the Heart. Because I like the groove on it. And they sampled this guy named Vernon Birch, who's one funky musician. So and with Bootsy. And Q Tip was on there too. There was an early Q Tip sighting back in 90. That's for when Leaders of New School Tribe Called Quest was just starting out. I think that's around the same time I left my Wild Nail Segundo drop. That's how long Q Tip been around. You go back. Yee yee. Okay, you'll be saying anybody. Yeah, I was told that. Yeah. Well, I don't know. But so tell me about yourself since you up here playing, going from Michael Jackson's dad to Ice Cube. Who was you? Do talk. Yeah. If you get to see it, it is a good day. If you get to be participant in it and you get to make a statement, it is a good day. That's what I said too. Yeah. By all means. Okay, we're doing pretty good right now. Got some good views up, got some people coming through. So let's see what we're working with. Hope everybody doing good today. We just chilling today. We got some messages coming through. Hmm. So by all means. Well, thank you for that compliment. I'll take that. Thank you. I appreciate that. No, they did. So let me go over this with you, Charlene. Which Way Is Up was just prior by himself with Lynette McKee. She was a light skinned African American actress. Him and Wilder did Silver Streak, which out came out in 76. Stir Crazy, which came out in 80, with Sidney Poitier directed. See No Evil, Hear No Evil came out in 89. And Another You came out in 91. So they did 4 films together. So you have to pick out a Silver Streak, Stir Crazy, See No Evil, Hear No Evil, or Another You. And it depends on which one you pick. James Cleveland Ike, as far as what? What's the question? Oh, that's a good one. I think I got to give them the edge on Silver Streak because Gene Wilder was hilarious. That first one was great. The first one was great. Um, James Cleveland was a musical cat. Reverend Ike was a Billy D. Williams slickster cat. Both slicksters in their own respective ways as ministers. I don't know where we're going with this one though. You know about James Cleveland, so it's pre Diddy parties and uh TD Jakes, TD Cakes. So allegedly. If you liked him musically, some people did, some people didn't. It depends on who you ask. I mean, Party All the Time still sounds good. His songs made me laugh more than anything because, well, excuse me, he wasn't what I call, his vocals. He was like on helium version of Michael Jackson. But I liked Eddie Hyde. He tried. Gospel. And if you were a fan of 70s R&B and soul, you already know that. Um, you're a fan of 60s R&B, you know that. Jazz and blues are instrumental as far as the tone, but the gospel is the soul. Impact? Influence? Well, if I don't pick gospel, then I'm going to say the blues because the blues is part of all of that. It encompasses all of that. You hear, but again, it's the gospel and the blues which correlate all that. If you listen to Etta James to Al Green, you should get your answer. You listen to Billie Holiday to Donny Hathaway, you should get your answer. Just sometimes it is the artistry loans itself to that. It's a reflection. But the gospel was part of what made everybody so great. That's the thing. Most of them after he had quite a few duds. Let me tell you like this. I think Richard Pryor is the GOAT comedian always. One of the most charismatic cats I ever saw. The movie things were more because of he was so strong as a live performer, charismatic. He didn't like none of his movies. And all his movies were he had some decent good roles and he had some stuff, but the films were a little bit different because he had to do some films that didn't always reflect him, Kind of think about an artist that makes music and the songs like a singer who doesn't write their songs get songs that doesn't really. Well, you're never too young if you understand what you're being fed. And let me explain. Even when I was younger, I knew stuff wasn't on point because technology started taking over. And we used to could just like pinpoint stuff. You can pick up on stuff. It's not an age thing. It's you start to hear things, you start to see things, you start to pick it. I think the only problem with today is that why you have award shows and all this stuff when everything is done by streams. Why do people feel the need to use the old model? That's what blows my mind today. That's what makes it more embarrassing than anything. Because You don't have a reason to have to rely on things from the past, like you really don't. So I'm for life of me, I don't understand why they get excited about getting Grammys, all this stuff. Well, then Bill Cosby would be the Ray Charles of soul music. He predated Pryor, and he was like a groundbreaker. So that's how I kind of would almost say it. That's how I almost would say it. Because Ray Charles, and they did that segment on the Bill Cosby show, and they were impersonating Ray Charles, and sure enough, and so yeah, I'd probably put him in and lump him up with that. That's kind of where I would put him. That's what I would say. Because Ray Charles was the guy that predated all that. He really did. And he doesn't always get his. That's not a fair comparison because Michael is the prince. I who would I say? I got to think about that because when Eddie blew up, he really didn't have anybody that was directly linked to him that was a comedian, unless, of course, maybe dare I say, Robin Williams, because there was not another black comedian. Well, the thing about black comedians, they all get that. They just like black music artists. They got that one, 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 one. Eddie got the baton from Pryor and all that, but there was no other black comedian that I remember, unless you did, not even Jimmy J.J. Walker. There was another black comedian that was a threat to Eddie with that kind of momentum, not the kind of money they was spending on Eddie. So that's why when you say that, you got to think about this question you asked because I couldn't even say that. Michael and Princess said they were, that situation, but the only one you would really say would be Pryor. But if I was gonna say about the other one, it'd have to be probably maybe Robin Williams. But again, Eddie was in his own element. That was a whole different element. Whole different element. That's why you got a generation of people that are out now who look at him as the GOAT or for Chappelle because his influence was strong. He was the commercialized version of Pryor. Pryor never had the commercial success at the movies that Eddie did. He had a chance, but it wasn't the same. Eddie was like, and if we're going to use this to somebody, I would say kind of like Michael Jordan to Dr. J, Eddie to Richard Pryor. That's how I would word that. Like 2.0 somebody. So that's how I look at it. But again, it all depends on who you know. So okay, let's get some questions going. Let's see about you on here. Did who? Juke. What's Juke? What's that? Did Juke and Opal? What's that? I'm stomped on that one. What's that mean? He was in the Mac in 73. The first serious role of his that I really liked was when he was in Lady Sings the Blues with Diana Ross as Piano Man. But that's the one that I remember. No. 73 is I remember the Mac. And his movies, again, like I said before, were hit and miss. He was such a charismatic character that they didn't really they tried to capitalize off of that enthusiasm what he did as a live performer. He could never get a movie that unless it was based on that could capture that. So he was pretty good in the Mac though. He was definitely, it'd still be strong, but it would be with a void. The thing is that you always had great black talent, but there were people that kind of transcended the way they were. Pryor is one of those guys. He just transcended. You. I'll put it to you like this: Chappelle would either be like you'd either think he was great or you think he sucked without Pryor. And that doesn't even begin to tell you the half of Pryor, but that's what Chappelle tries to aspire by storytelling and putting stuff. But Pryor's situation is still the most unique. He's the most unique comedian I ever heard because he put his whole life up there on the stage. Eddie Murphy in a blowout. And Chris Rock ain't nothing but a double Junior Whopper version of Eddie. He has some good, quick, catchy punchlines. And the thing about it, if you know anything, if you follow comedy, Chris Rock got a lot of his stuff. It's like Bob Hope type of humor in the sense that the one liners in Dangerfield and then Eddie, he mixed it up, but he ain't Eddie though. He had crossover. He's had things that he could do that Eddie couldn't do, like he could host a show, at his book. He had some moments where people were actually for a moment, but it was a short moment though. It was a short moment. Because he couldn't do no box office. That was the knock. Not until he got that longest yard movie. He was and that's why when you wonder why, they had an interesting dynamic. I don't know about friend. I'd say interesting dynamic. I'll talk about that in a minute. Rock, that's why he was on the same level with Chris Tucker and Martin Lawrence and them. He couldn't pull no movie. Even CB4, which came out, but he was not a box office draw. That's to be a successful black comedian after a while, you had to be box office draw. Hate if you will about Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart been running laps on turkeys at the box office. That's where he dominates. He chews up there. Um, they were cool, but when you say friend, I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Because when you say a friend, you got to think of a different dynamic, and I don't know if I'd say a friend. I don't know if I'd say that. You call people Barbara Walter because not only is a female journalist, but she was crossover. She paved the way for Oprah. She had an appeal. Mike Wallace was a respected journalist, straight up, but Walters had crossover appeal though. So I gotta give her that. Just the fact that you mentioned her alone, because you weren't gonna just say any woman up there. You had to be pretty bad and dynamic. Good old boys club too, you know. So that's how I look at it. Hit this up real quick. That's a very good question. No, that made me think for a moment. I had to think. But Bob Walters had crazy impact on. What should be incorporated into none of the above? Because they should be able to do what they set out to do. If they turn into a variety show, then it becomes like a laughing or becomes like something that Saturday Night Live, and that's not what they're trying to be. I think if you are a TV journalist, you want credibility. Why you think vloggers and bloggers are bigger now? Because the so-called journalists are one-trick ponies, and they're doing everything but actually telling their opinion about the news. That's why somebody like Stephen A. Smith is blow it up. You know, it's a different entity. It's a different entity. So that's how I look at it. You interpret to look at how you want it, but if you want my personal opinion, yeah, that's one of the problems that we got right now. So-called journalists ain't actually journalism no more. They just doing something that they getting by with. So no, you might get your butt knocked out. You do have commentators that do in boxing rings. Guy named Jim Lampley. A lot of them were in there. Howard Cosell was in there. If you watch boxing, you know that those guys are. Jim Lampley's one of the most educated guys I ever seen. When you get in a ring with Mike Tyson and you say something stupid, you might leave with your teeth in the third row. So I'm just saying, depends on who it is. You know, depends on who it is. I don't think you want to box a ring with a camera report about, yeah, you sure got knocked out. What you gonna do? And then so when I might knock you out. So I don't know if you want to say anything wrong. Because I remember there's a place where I lived in. The announced the cat said the wrong thing, and the dude was like ready to go upside his head. So you gotta be careful with that. You know. Okay. Comedy food show. Well, that all kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, Rachel Raid has to. No, that's not good. But you're gonna make fun of people eating though. Cause I can sit around and make fun of people that eat fast food and eat greasy food. I don't know if that goes over real well. Just saying. I don't know if I touch that. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be down with that. Making sure you're eating the right thing you're supposed to eat. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Mm. Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. I said it's a good idea. Let's see what I got. I got 20 more minutes that I'm gonna be on tonight, so giving you 1 hour exactly. So we got 20 more minutes to make it count. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Okay. Let's see what we got. Hope I keep on coming on because I'm waiting and starting to see some ideas with some people coming through. I'm right here. Can you hear me? Give me a one if you can hear me. Give me a one if you can hear me. I've been wondering what happened because I'm talking to a blank screen and I need to know. Because if I don't hear nothing, then that gives me my cue that I'll roll. Yeah, that's a good thing. I agree with that. I think in light of COVID and everything, yeah, well, you got to teach people how to wash their hands. It really is a safety issue. Okay, what we got? No, they don't like to do things like that in their shows. But if they did it, we wouldn't have so many viruses. So yeah, you gotta learn how to do stuff. But we see the results of what's happened when they don't. So it's a whole world out here. No, I don't go with that. I don't know. That's one of them things that's spiritual. I don't know what the right profession is because you got people all through their lives who never find the right thing they want to do. I don't think you can really. You have to have the orbits and the galaxies and the stars align with that. So, besides, we're in a different era now. Technology changed over. People who would now do certain things will do them. So, mhm. Okay, what about showing people stalk other people? The only problem with that is after a while, that kind of comes across like Jerry Springish, and mm, those kind of shows are novelty. Yeah, nope. Yeah, well, okay. Let's see. We got 10 more minutes. Okay. I don't know. I think there was 60 minutes and they kind of did that already. So I don't know. I mean, talking about the events and talking about the people, places, and things. Mm, a lot of things negative happen. So I can't really do that because that's a. Oh, you hold up somebody or something happens. It's kind of hard to really explain it. Yep. Some people do that religious too. What is regret and should be regret? No, 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 no. That's the problem now. People be wanting to tell everything without really saying anything, and then they end up not following through. No, no. They're not going to agree to that. Not too often. Not the sane ones won't. No. They're trying to turn that into a hustle. Nice try, though. No one's going to tell you the whole truth on that. Well, that's debatable. That's debatable. So there's places around the world where you'd be surprised what you think sucks. They look at that into a gourmet meal. Left-handed game show. That's funny. Um, mm, I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. But I give you A for effort though. Okay, we got a couple more minutes. I'll be here for exactly an hour today. And I'll come back probably. I think I should be able to come back Saturday. So I'll be back Saturday, Sunday. So mark me down Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. But I don't think anybody. I again, those things you're talking about somebody that would do geek out where they would, and I don't know if they would do that. I don't know. It's an interesting theory, but I don't know if they would do that though. But game shows stuff, people like stuff that's either silly or kind of, challenging stuff is only geared for so much. So you might be on to something. Um, maybe. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night, but I will be back on Saturday. Yeah, we'll do that. And Saturday, Sunday, and probably late Monday. So yeah, we'll definitely get some lives in for sure. Appreciate everybody that came through, and thank you as always. Great to see you, Charlene, and I'll keep you posted coming through. So it was another successful journey. Appreciate everyone that came through. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm on one time. Peace.